Hello everyone. Well, even though we just saw severe storms Friday in the Quad Cities, already today we have a small chance of severe storms. And then unfortunately for tomorrow, looking like a good chance of severe storms again. So we're going to break down both days starting at 8 a.m. this morning, and just a few stray rain showers around. There is an outside chance you might encounter a rain shower during the morning commute, but a better chance that you will stay dry. And it's the same story during the late morning hours. A few rain showers around, but not much. There is a slightly better chance in the early afternoon. Now we'll call it isolated activity, but notice more still dry than seen rain. So not a lot going on through the early afternoon. High temperatures are going to reach the mid-50s, and initially there's not going to be much wind. But in the late afternoon, it's going to start to get breezy, gusts 20, 25 miles per hour. And notice the chance of rain going up. Now we're talking beginning around 6 o'clock about scattered showers and, yes, the possibility of thunderstorms. And though I think these are mostly going to be regular thunderstorms, there is an outside chance that we could get a couple of stronger storms that could produce some damaging wind and hail. So the chance beginning around 6 o'clock. Let's take a look at 8 o'clock. And what I do think is it's looking like a wet evening, and heavy rain and lightning are likely, but damaging wind and hail not likely. And I will say the best chance of storms right now, and potentially the best chance for a couple severe storms, looking like roughly around 10 o'clock this evening, but I'm going to keep the chance in there through 1 a.m. tonight. So really looking at a window of about 6 o'clock this afternoon until 1 a.m. And heavy rain and lightning look likely, but the chance for damaging wind, hail is low. It's not zero though, so that's why we've got to mention it. We're not worried about any tornadoes. We're not worried about flooding. But in a worst case scenario, again, the most likely time, somewhere around 9, 10 o'clock, it looks like, we could see wind gusts as high as 50 miles per hour and perhaps up to quarter-size hail. Got to mention as a chance, but fortunately a low chance for today. But now we've got to talk about tomorrow. Now tomorrow we're starting at 7 a.m. and it's probably going to be dry in the Quad Cities. But once the winds pick up late this afternoon and this evening, they're going to stay up. So already tomorrow morning on the breezy side, I think it's going to stay breezy throughout the day. Now it looks like there is going to be an opportunity for some isolated showers around lunchtime tomorrow. This as a warm front lifts over us. I don't expect any storms with the warm front, but the warm front lifting over us around lunchtime is going to set the stage for the activity that's expected later today. So do have to mention isolated activity with the warm front around lunchtime, but then look at 3 o'clock. It's back to dry conditions temporarily. And look at our temperatures. Tomorrow, already at 3 o'clock, look at the variety, upper 50s to upper 60s across the area, where areas to the south getting the warm front first, so that's why it's warm. But I think we're just going to keep getting warmer and warmer until the cold front arrives. The problem is we're probably going to see storms develop ahead of the cold front and then a line of storms along the cold front. And the storms that pop up ahead of the cold front, once again, we're talking about the possibility of supercell storms, those strongest thunderstorms. We do think some are going to form. Now, the chance doesn't begin till about 6 o'clock in the afternoon. So again, through the early afternoon hours, nothing to worry about. But beginning in the late afternoon through the early evening hours, we have the potential for these supercell storms. Now, there probably are going to be gaps with these supercells. But the problem is if a supercell does work over the area, then you're talking about a good chance of hail, damage wind, and possibly tornadoes. So the chance beginning around 6 o'clock. If we're going to see a supercell, and again, it may only be one or two, and so it might miss the Quad Cities themselves, but could be somewhere in the area, maybe to the south and east of the Quad Cities, maybe north and west of the Quad Cities. And that's what we got to watch out for, because we certainly are going to hope that we miss out. But if you get under one of these supercells, it is not looking good. But the window of opportunity isn't too long for these supercells. From roughly about 6 o'clock in the afternoon, it looks like. By the way, look at these temperatures, low 70s. Until about 10 o'clock in the evening. And then after 10 o'clock, we're going to be watching for another line of storms to develop along a cold front. And technically, the chance for damaging wind and hail and maybe a tornado is still going to be there, but probably smaller than what we're going to see with those supercells. And still a little bit uncertainty in the exact timing of when the cold front is going to arrive. So, unfortunately, this looks all too familiar, I know, to Friday, really highlighting once again eastern Iowa, far western Illinois for the greatest threat. It's this area shaded in red that we're concerned about the supercell storms developing. I think all of central and eastern Iowa is going to get that line of storms with the cold front, but the supercells forming ahead of the cold front, that's what we're highlighting in this area shaded in red. The question we still have is how many supercells are going to pop up, but we do see the potential pretty much across eastern Iowa into western Illinois, including the Quad Cities. And again, we're really looking in late afternoon, early evening hours for these supercells, and then late evening, early overnight for possibly another line of storms with the cold front. But what we're concerned about with these supercells, if one is to move over you, we could see wind gusts up to 70 miles per hour, golf ball size hail, and yes, unfortunately with these supercell storms, not only are we talking about a couple tornadoes, but it's these supercell storms that can develop the strong tornadoes, the EF2s, EF3s, which we've already saw on Friday, and we certainly don't want to see again, but it is a possibility. So still a little bit of uncertainty in the exact timing, how many supercells, and in the exact timing of the cold front behind the supercells. So look for another update tomorrow morning.